My brother slept with my fiancée, and my family tried forcing us back together, but my final decision left them in shock forever. I was reviewing mortality rates for our latest clinical trial when the fraud alert hit my phone. Tuesday afternoon, 3:47 p.m. I remember because I'd just corrected an intern who'd miscalculated the confidence intervals. Unusual activity detected on your platinum rewards card ending in 8834. Merchant, The Windsor Hotel, Burlington VT. Amount, $1,847.23. That card was supposed to be for wedding expenses only. Hallie and I had opened it together, sitting in our kitchen with her surgical sketches spread across the table, planning what she called our precision perfect wedding. I clicked through to the full statement. 3 more charges over the past month. Restaurants I'd never heard of. A jewelry store in Burlington. Another hotel charge from 2 weeks ago when I was presenting at the Johns Hopkins Symposium. Hallie was at her lab until 7, or so she'd told me that morning, kissing my cheek while I made coffee, her fingers trailing across my shoulders in that way she did when she felt guilty about working late again. I had time. Our shared cloud account was still logged in on my laptop. She'd been sloppy lately, leaving her tablet open, forgetting to log out of things. Stress from wedding planning, she'd said. I scrolled through our photo backups first. Nothing unusual. Then I checked the recently deleted folder. Uber receipts. 12 of them. All to Burlington, all on nights she'd said she was working on her new cauterization tool prototype. The same nights I'd ordered takeout for one and fallen asleep to clinical journals. My brother Blake had been weird lately too. We'd grabbed beers last week after he finished a back piece on some Netflix actor, and he kept checking his phone, smiling at the screen like an idiot. When I asked if he was seeing someone, he nearly choked on his IPA. Just work stuff, Griff. You know how it is. I did know how it was. Blake had been the family favorite since we were kids. Star athlete turned celebrity tattoo artist, the son who gave our mother conversation pieces for her book club while I bored everyone with statistical models and patient outcomes. He was supposed to be my best man. The deleted messages folder on our cloud had been cleared, but Hallie didn't know about the automatic archive function I'd enabled when we synced our accounts. Security feature from my lab, we dealt with sensitive patient data. The archived messages loaded slowly, each one a small detonation. Blake, last night was incredible. You're worth the risk. Hallie, I can't stop thinking about your hands on me. Blake, Griffin doesn't deserve what we have. Hallie, 3 more months and we can stop pretending. Blake, I need to see you. Burlington? Hallie, already booked our room. 6 months. They'd been doing this for 6 months while I reviewed substance interactions and planned our future. While Blake helped me pick out her engagement ring, knowing he'd already had her in ways that should have been mine alone. I sat in my lab, surrounded by data that made sense, by numbers that didn't lie, and read every message. Blake describing what he wanted to do to her. Hallie calling him during my night shifts. The hotel receipts matching perfectly with her prototype development schedule. My phone buzzed. Hallie. Hey babe, Sophie wants to grab drinks after work to discuss bridesmaid dresses. Won't be late. Love you. Sophie was in Prague at a medical conference. I'd seen her Instagram post that morning. I typed back, have fun. Love you too. Then I searched Blake's social media. He'd been careful, but not careful enough. A reflection in a car window showing Hallie's distinctive leather jacket. A tagged location at a Burlington coffee shop when he was supposedly at his parlor. Her surgical design notebook visible in the corner of a photo from 3 weeks ago. The final search almost made me laugh. An email confirmation in our shared folder. Blake had booked the honeymoon suite at the Windsor for tomorrow night. $800 for one night. The same suite where Hallie and I had planned to stay for our anniversary. I closed my laptop and went back to the mortality data. Numbers didn't betray you. They didn't pretend to love you while planning their exit. They just were. Tomorrow night, they'd be in Burlington. Tomorrow night, I'd know exactly how deep this went. I told Hallie I had an emergency peer review session that would run late Thursday night. She barely looked up from her sketches, just nodded and said she'd probably crash early anyway, big presentation Friday morning. The drive to Burlington took 3 hours and 47 minutes. I know because I counted every minute, letting the rage settle into something colder. The Windsor Hotel sat downtown, all brick and false elegance. I parked across the street at 7:20 p.m. and waited. Blake arrived first in his slaughtered-out Challenger, the one our father bought him for landing his first celebrity client. He valeted it like he owned the place, tipping the kid with a 20. Always the big shot. Hallie pulled up 15 minutes later in the Audi I'd helped her buy last year. She'd told me she needed something reliable for client meetings. She parked it herself, 2 blocks away. Careful. Deliberate. She walked to the hotel in heels I'd never seen before, a dress that wasn't in our closet. I watched them meet in the lobby through the massive windows. No hesitation. Blake's hand found the small of her back immediately, proprietary, like he'd been touching her that way for years. She turned into him, and I saw her laugh at something he whispered. The same laugh I thought was mine alone. They disappeared into the elevator. 8th floor, honeymoon suite. I sat in my car for another hour, photographing everyone who entered and left. Building a timeline. Creating evidence. Then I drove home. Hallie came back at 2 a.m. I heard her key in the lock, the careful way she closed the door. She slipped into bed smelling like unfamiliar soap, hotel shampoo. When she pressed against my back, I kept my breathing steady, feigning sleep while she whispered "I love you" into the darkness. The next morning, I made her coffee while she rushed around collecting her presentation materials. French press with oat milk, exactly how she liked it. She kissed me goodbye, tasting like mint and deception. "You're the best, Griff. Don't know what I'd do without you." "Probably manage somehow," I said. She laughed and left. I called in sick and drove to Blake's parlor in Brookhaven. He ran the place like a gallery, exposed brick, Edison bulbs, vintage medical diagrams on the walls. His assistant, Jerome, was working on a shoulder piece when I walked in. "Griff. Blake's in the back. He's got 30 minutes before his noon appointment." Blake was sterilizing equipment, humming some song I recognized from Hallie's playlist. "Hey, brother," he said without looking up. "Finally ready for that molecular structure tat?" "Just wanted to see the new setup. Mom says business is booming." He launched into his usual spiel about wait lists and celebrity clientele. I noticed things I'd missed before, the way he kept checking his phone, the slight hickey just below his collar line, the nervous energy that had nothing to do with caffeine. "You look tired," I said. "Late night. Kid from that new HBO show wanted a full sleeve. Didn't finish until 3. Jerome was still working up front. The shop's appointment book was digital, displayed on a tablet by the register. Blake's Thursday showed clear after 5 p.m. "Hey, can I use your bathroom?" I asked. "Yeah, you know where it is." The bathroom shared a wall with Blake's private studio. While running the water, I quickly scanned the space. That's when I saw it, fresh ink on his ribs, visible through his tank top when he reached for supplies. Gothic lettering, still slightly raised. HAL. Hallie and Lawson. "You get new work done?" I called out. "Just some touch-ups," he said. "Personal stuff." I studied my brother as he worked, this person I'd shared 31 years with. Protected him when kids mocked his dyslexia. Celebrated when he found his calling with art instead of academics. Stood as his witness through 2 failed engagements. He'd marked his territory on his own body, branded himself with my fiancée's initials like she was already his. My phone vibrated. "Mom. Griffin, we need to talk about Hallie and Blake. Come to the house. Now." The text was followed immediately by another. "Don't do anything rash. We can fix this as a family." I looked at Blake, still humming, still pretending. "I've got to go," I said. "Mom needs me." "Tell the Queen I said hey," Blake called out, not even looking up from his sketches. I left him there with her initials carved into his skin. The drive to my parents' house in Westfield took 20 minutes. Long enough for me to run through every possible scenario. Mom didn't text like that unless she was in full judge mode, even retired. She treated family crises like cases to be adjudicated. Their colonial sat on 3 acres, the kind of property that whispered old money even though Dad built his fortune from nothing. I parked behind his Mercedes, noticing Blake's Challenger wasn't there yet. Of course not. They'd summon me first. Mom answered the door wearing her combat outfit, cream blazer, pearl earrings, the same expression she'd worn during her last year on the federal bench. "Griffin. Thank you for coming quickly." The formal tone told me everything. This wasn't a mother concerned about her son's pain. This was damage control. Dad stood by the fireplace in his study, hands clasped behind his back like he was addressing his board of directors. The wall behind him displayed framed photos of our family's greatest hits, Blake's first magazine feature, my doctoral graduation, their 40th anniversary party where Hallie and I announced our engagement. "How long have you known?" I asked. "Blake came to us yesterday," Mom said, settling into her leather chair like it was still her courtroom. He was distraught. He says it just happened, that neither of them meant. 6 months, I interrupted. It's been going on for 6 months. Dad's jaw tightened. You knew? I found out yesterday. The receipts, the messages, all of it. And you didn't come to us first? Mom's tone carried that particular disappointment she'd perfected during my teenage years. I needed to be sure. Well, now we need to be smart, Dad said. The Harrisons are joining us for the foundation gala next month. 200 guests have already RSVP'd to your wedding. My merger with Cyrus Medical depends on stability. Warren, Mom cut him off, then turned to me. Hallie's here. She's waiting in the living room. My chest tightened. You brought her here? Blake told her about his confession this morning. She wants to explain. They'd orchestrated this. While I was discovering Blake's tattoo, they were already managing the situation. I walked into the living room to find Hallie perched on the cream sofa, tissue in hand, tears perfectly placed to not disturb her makeup. Griffin, I'm so sorry. I'm so confused. It got away from us. The performance was flawless. She stood, reaching for me, but I stepped back. How did it get away from you? Specifically. She crumbled, a controlled collapse back onto the sofa. You were always at the lab. Blake was there when I needed someone. We were planning your surprise birthday party, and one night we had wine, and... Which birthday? Because the messages go back to February. Her face shifted slightly. Mom intervened. The details don't matter. What matters is moving forward. The front door opened. Blake entered like he was approaching his execution, shoulders slumped, eyes red. The golden child reduced to playing the penitent sinner. Griff, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll step back. I'll move to Austin like we talked about, open the second shop there. You two can work through this. Sit, Mom commanded. We arranged ourselves like a perverted family portrait, parents standing, Blake and Hallie on opposite ends of the sofa, me in the wingback chair facing them all. This is what's going to happen, Mom began. You three will attend counseling. Dr. Morrison has agreed to see you starting Monday. The wedding proceeds as planned. Blake will be scarce for a few months, then gradually rejoin family functions. We control the narrative. The wedding is in 3 months, Dad added. The deposits are non-refundable. The merger announcement is 2 weeks after. We need this family intact. The doorbell rang. Dad frowned, they hadn't expected anyone else. Mom went to answer it, returning with my grandparents. Grandpa Roland, 83 and still sharp enough to run his hospital's board. Grandma Beverly, who donated a wing to that same hospital. We came as soon as Deidre called, Grandma said, clutching my hands. Griffin, darling, forgiveness is the foundation of family. They'd called in all the cavalry. Every person in this room had chosen their position before it even known there was a war. I need time to think, I said. Of course, Mom replied. But Griffin? We fix this as a family, or not at all. I stood to leave. As I reached the door, I pulled out my phone and typed a quick message to a contact saved simply as M. It's time. They took the bait. The response was immediate, everything's ready. Just say when. 2 weeks of manufactured forgiveness. I became a method actor in my own life, sitting through Dr. Morrison's sessions every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. sharp. She had an office overlooking the harbor, all whites and grays, designed to promote calm. I recorded every session on my phone tucked in my jacket pocket. Hallie, can you tell Griffin when the physical relationship began? Dr. Morrison asked during our third session. Hallie twisted her engagement ring, the one I'd spent 3 months' salary on. The conference in Baltimore. When Griffin was presenting his paper on immunotherapy markers. That was in February, I said, voice steady. You told me you had food poisoning. Blake drove up to check on me. We didn't plan it. But you planned Burlington. And the hotels. And using my apartment. Dr. Morrison's pen stopped moving. Your apartment? Hallie's face cracked slightly. Just twice. When Griffin had overnight shifts at the lab, in my bed. They'd been in my bed while I ran trials trying to save lives. I nodded, playing the wounded but willing participant, while documenting every admission. The family performances were worse. Sunday dinners where Mom orchestrated conversations like a conductor. Photos for her Facebook, lovely evening with the kids. While Blake sat across from me, avoiding eye contact. Dad pulled me aside after each one, reminding me about the merger, the family reputation, the weight of legacy. Morgan made everything bearable. We met at her office downtown, always after hours. She'd been my friend since undergrad, the only person who'd called BS word when I defended my family's casual cruelties over the years. Now she was systematically unwinding my life from theirs. "The forensics on Blake's accounts are incredible," she said Thursday night, sliding papers across her desk. "He's been washing money through the parlor for 2 years. Taking cash payments, recording them as credit, then skimming the difference." "How much?" $400,000, give or take. Your father's CFO should have caught it, but Blake was smart. Small amounts, multiple accounts. Dad's CFO is Blake's godfather. That explains it. She pulled up another screen. "I've also found something interesting about Hallie's company. She's been shopping her surgical designs to Blake's clients without her partners knowing. 3 patents filed under just her name, not the company's." Industrial espionage? More like theft. Her employment contract gives the company rights to anything developed using their resources. I studied the woman across from me, Morgan with her structured blazers and sharp eyes, who'd spent 2 weeks helping me dismantle my life without asking for anything in return. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. She looked up from her laptop. "Because someone should have done it for me 5 years ago when my ex-husband was hiding assets. Because you deserve better than what they're offering you." She paused. "Because I've been half in love with you since junior year, and I'm tired of watching you accept less than you're worth." The admission hung between us, unexpected but not unwelcome. "Morgan, don't. Not yet. Let's finish this first." We worked until midnight, preparing documents, organizing evidence. She showed me how to legally extract myself from the family trust, how to donate my wedding fund without tax implications, how to transfer my shares in Dad's company to my 8-year-old niece Bella's education trust, Blake's daughter from his first marriage, the one genuinely innocent person in this mess. "The family healing dinner is tomorrow," I said, packing up the files. "You ready?" "My lawyer will be there with the contracts. Everything's in order." She stood, walked around the desk, and straightened my collar, an intimate gesture that felt more real than 3 years with Hallie. "They're going to implode," she said. "I know. You could just walk away. Take what's yours and leave." They'd spin it. Make me the villain who couldn't forgive. Blake and Hallie would end up together eventually, and my parents would welcome them back. I picked up the thumb drive containing everything. They want to control the narrative. Tomorrow, I become the author. Morgan kissed my cheek, soft and quick. "Give them hell." I drove home to find Hallie trying on dresses for tomorrow's dinner, humming in our bedroom. "Which one says healing?" she asked, holding up 2 options. "The blue one," I said. "Definitely the blue." She smiled, believing we were healing, never suspecting she was choosing her costume for her own execution. Tomorrow, at 7 p.m., at the Westfield Country Club, in the private dining room my parents had booked for family reconciliation, I would burn it all down. And I had all the matches I needed. The Westfield Country Club stood like a monument to old money and older secrets. My parents had been members for 30 years. The private dining room they'd booked overlooked the golf course where my father conducted half his business deals between shots. I arrived at 6:45 p.m. with a leather briefcase. Mom had texted earlier, "Dressy casual. We want warmth, not formality." I wore the charcoal suit Hallie had picked out for my last conference. Seemed fitting. The room was set for reconciliation, soft lighting, round table to avoid hierarchy, bottles of wine already breathing. Mom had even ordered the same flowers from their anniversary party. Everything choreographed to manufacture healing. Blake arrived next, wearing the navy blazer Mom bought him last Christmas. He nodded at me, attempted a smile that died halfway. The tattoo on his ribs was probably still healing. I wondered if it itched. Hallie entered with my parents, a united front. She wore the blue dress, paired with the necklace I'd given her for our first anniversary. Mom guided her to the seat beside mine, a calculated proximity meant to rebuild intimacy. Dad raised his glass once everyone was seated. To family. To forgiveness. To moving forward. We drank. The wine was excellent. Dad never skimped when appearances mattered. "Griffin," Mom began, "we thought you might want to share what you've been working through in therapy." I set down my glass and opened the briefcase. "Actually, I brought something to show you." "Workbooks from Dr. Morrison?" Hallie asked, her hand finding my knee under the table. "That's wonderful, babe." I pulled out my laptop and the thumb drive. The room had a presentation screen for board meetings. Dad had probably closed deals worth millions in this exact space. "What are you doing?" Blake's voice carried the first note of concern. I connected the laptop, opened the first file. Being thorough. The screen illuminated with their first message exchange. February 3rd, 11:47 p.m. Blake, can't stop thinking about tonight. Hallie, delete this. Blake, no one will know. Mom's wine glass stopped midway to her lips. I clicked through the messages methodically. Each one timestamped, geotagged. The hotel receipts appeared next: 12 visits to Burlington, 3 to Albany, 1 to Boston when I thought Hallie was visiting her sister. Griffin, stop, Dad commanded. I switched to the photos. Blake and Hallie entering the Windsor Hotel. His hand on her back. The security footage I'd purchased from a very accommodating night manager who didn't appreciate cheaters. Then the audio from therapy. Hallie's voice filled the room. We used his apartment twice. His bed. I know it was wrong, but Blake made me feel alive in ways Griffin never could. Hallie's hand left my knee. The first time was in Griffin's bed, her recorded voice continued. Blake said it was poetic justice. That Griffin had everything handed to him while Blake had to fight for scraps. Blake stood. Turn it off. Not yet. I pulled up the financial documents. This is where it gets interesting. The embezzlement records appeared in neat columns. $400,000 over 24 months. Bank transfers, cash deposits, fraudulent receipts. That's not, Blake started. Your signature is on every document. Your personal account received every deposit. Dad's face went from red to white. I switched to Hallie's patent filings. And you've been stealing from your partners. 3 designs, filed independently, developed with company resources. How dare you investigate me, Hallie whispered. How dare you sleep with my brother in my bed? The door opened. My lawyer, Harrison Pike, entered carrying a folder. He'd waited outside for exactly 20 minutes, as planned. Mr. Pike, Mom said, recognizing him from court. This is a family matter. Not anymore, I said. Harrison, please distribute the documents. He handed out packets with surgical precision. Blake's contained the fraud evidence and a notice that it would be filed with the IRS on Monday unless he confessed to Dad's board. Hallie's included an eviction notice and a letter to her company's ethics board. My parents received documentation showing I'd legally severed all financial ties, transferred my inheritance to Bella's trust, and donated our entire $50,000 wedding fund to the Prometheus Women's Shelter. The shelter specifically helps women escaping manipulative families, I noted. They were very grateful. You can't do this, Mom said, her judge voice cracking. It's already done. Every signature filed, every transfer complete. I closed the laptop, placed the engagement ring on the table, and stood. Griffin, wait, Hallie reached for me. I walked to the door where a woman in a simple black dress stood waiting, her hand extended. Hello, Morgan, my father said quietly, recognizing her at last. Morgan's hand was steady in mine as we walked through the country club's marble lobby. Behind us, the private dining room had erupted into chaos, Mom's commanding voice, Dad's booming threats, Hallie's shrill denials. Blake hadn't said a word. He knew the evidence was bulletproof. The courthouse closes at 8, Morgan said once we were in her car. We have 40 minutes. You sure about this? I asked. I've been sure since junior year. You're the one who needed time to catch up. She was right. While I'd been building a life with someone who viewed me as a safety net, Morgan had been there, through my dissertation defense, my father's heart attack, every family dinner where I'd made excuses for their casual cruelties. She'd seen me, not the role I played in their carefully constructed narrative. The courthouse was nearly empty. We'd gotten the license 3 days earlier, during the window when I was supposedly processing in therapy. The clerk who married us seemed amused by our urgency, but Morgan had brought witnesses, 2 partners from her firm who'd stayed late to support her. Do you, Griffin, take Morgan to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. No elaborate vows. No performance. Just truth. By the time we signed the certificate, my phone had 37 missed calls. I turned it off. We spent our wedding night at Morgan's apartment, drinking champagne from coffee mugs, watching my family's social media meltdown on her laptop. Mom had tried damage control first, posting about private family matters and request for privacy during difficult times. But someone, probably Harrison's assistant, had already leaked the screenshots. Blake's Instagram, with 200k followers who loved his bad boy artist persona, exploded. Clients started pulling out immediately. The celebrity who'd gotten work done last month posted a story. When your tattoo artist is also a thief and a homewrecker. Anyone know a good removal specialist? Hallie's company released a statement by morning. They'd conducted an internal review and discovered the patent violations. Her termination was effective immediately, and they were pursuing legal action to reclaim the stolen designs. Dad's merger collapsed by Thursday. Cyrus Medical's board didn't appreciate the fraud scandal, especially once they learned Dad's own son had been stealing from him for years. The due diligence revealed other discrepancies, nothing illegal, just sloppy enough to spook investors. Mom lasted 2 weeks on the hospital board before resigning. Someone had forwarded the therapy recordings to the board chair, arguing that a former federal judge who'd orchestrated a cover-up for adultery and embezzlement couldn't be trusted with donor funds. Blake got the worst of it. The IRS filing triggered an audit that discovered more than I'd found. He'd been taking cash payments to avoid taxes, hadn't reported nearly $1 million in income over 5 years. The plea deal included 2 years of community service and restitution that would bankrupt his business. Hallie moved back to Ohio, living with her parents while fighting the lawsuits. She tried calling me once, 3 weeks later. Morgan answered my phone. "He's unavailable," Morgan said simply. "Permanently." 6 months later, Morgan and I incorporated our consulting firm. She handled the forensic accounting, I managed data analysis. Our first client came through Harrison, a pharmaceutical company concerned about internal fraud. We found it, along with 3 FDA violations they hadn't known about. The work felt clean. No pretense, no managing appearances. Just numbers and truth. I ran into Blake once, at a coffee shop downtown. He was doing court-ordered community service, teaching art at a youth center. The tattoo on his ribs had been covered with a black square, artistic admission of guilt or simple practicality, I couldn't tell. "Griffin," he said. "Blake. I'm sorry. For what it's worth." "It's worth exactly what you paid for it," I said, taking my coffee and leaving. Mom sent a letter last week. Formal stationery, her judge's handwriting. She wanted to reconcile, to rebuild. The family needed healing. Dad's health was declining. Blake was getting help. Time to come home. I sent back a photo instead. Morgan and me at our real wedding reception, a backyard barbecue with her family and our actual friends. Her dad at the grill, her mom teaching me to salsa, everyone laughing without calculating the social capital of their joy. At the bottom, I wrote one line, "Already home." They'd wanted me to save the picture. I chose to burn the frame. Instead, I built something real from the ashes. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.